Our greatest fear has now been realized. It's here. We've talked about this. We've speculated this. Some of you guys have left comments that it's happening in your particular city, your particular state. I refuse to believe that it was in mine because I hadn't seen it personally, and nobody that I knew had seen it personally, but it is here. What am I talking about? Hellcat state troopers. Hellcat Charger state troopers, to be exact. At this point, they're not even playing fair. 90% of the cars out there can't beat a Hellcat. The streets are done, man. Let's talk about it. As always, it's your boy Knockout 360, man, with another video for you guys. So as you can tell, I'm in the car. That makes it a car blog. You already know what's going down when I come around. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, and anything car related. Mask happens on this channel as well, man. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you're in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out, right? So let's talk about it, man. A fear that we have been talking about and speculated and talking around is now being realized in the state of North Carolina. As you know, in my particular state, we're ass backwards, right? And I say that to say basically all of the luxuries that other states are being afforded as far as, you know, relaxed laws and penalties as it pertains to cars, tint violation, minor car modification violations, things like that. My state is doubling down on that shit. Basically, they're coming at people harder. People are still getting pulled over for tints and giving tickets and giving court dates on that shit, right? People are still getting pulled over for loud exhaust and things of that sort, depending on what neighborhood you're in. It's not that prevalent in North Carolina, but I have seen it. I have heard of that happening. And what else? Cars, cops specifically, police officers, state troopers, are now taking things to the next level. And maybe they've already had things to the next level. It was just unbeknownst to me because obviously I don't know everything and everything that's going on in my state as far as what police officers are up to. But we now have proof that there are Hellcat Charger state troopers in the state of North Carolina. We don't know obviously what cities, what municipalities, what jurisdictions they're patrolling, but the fact that they exist is scary in and of itself. So what am I talking about here? One of my subscribers hit me in the DMs on the gram. That's Instagram for you guys that don't know, that lives under a rock. Hits me on the gram and he says, you know, first off, I want to stay anonymous, right? Don't mention my name. Don't even allude to my profile or whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to do that. But he says that I have information. He says that I work alongside some of these law enforcement agencies, right? And he's been watching some of my videos here recently and decided to share this bit of information with me. Send me pictures as well. What he shared with me was obviously pictures of a Charger Hellcat state trooper, right? And I'm posting these pictures right now. As you can see from the back, obviously it's a Hellcat. It's got the Hellcat emblem, SRT. It is a Charger, obviously. The license plate reads SHP 50, State Highway Patrol 50. This is a North Carolina license plate, so one would assume that this is a state trooper in the state of North Carolina. If you look at the rear hood or the trunk, you'll see that big ass antenna that's customary of state troopers or just cops in general, because they've got all their technology and shit in the trunk and they got to get a strong signal. So that's one dead giveaway. SHP 50 on the license plate is another giveaway if you're familiar with how state troopers kind of rank themselves or are ranked according to, let's see here, according to tenure, right? To my understanding, the lower the number, the higher ranked state trooper you're dealing with. I may have that completely in reverse. It may be the higher the number, the higher the ranked, higher the number, the higher ranked state trooper you're dealing with. I could have that in reverse, but to my understanding, the lower the number, the higher ranked state trooper you're dealing with. So when you see SHP 100 or 200 or whatever the case may be, you're dealing with obviously a state trooper, so you need to watch the hell out. But when you see SHP 50, you're dealing with somebody to be recognized here. And this particular guy, I'm not going to disclose any information about him, but he seems like he's pretty highly ranked in the state of North Carolina, to say the least. Not to mention he's driving a Hellcat, so you know that you're messing with the best. Aside from that, this just further proves that Hellcats in law enforcement do exist. And they do exist in the state of North Carolina, and things are getting bad here. I posted this picture on my Instagram, and people were leaving all kinds of outlandish comments stating that, oh, well, it's a Hellcat, but you can still beat it. They're only going to limit it to 120 miles per hour. That makes no sense. Why would the state of North Carolina allot 196 mile per hour, 700 horsepower Hellcat just to limit it to 120? That makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, hell, the Dodge Charger RT all-wheel drives that you see go faster than that. So there's no way in hell that they would be limiting this. One point that I did want to bring up is that this pretty much levels the playing field as it pertains to running from cops. I mean, I think it's become prevalent and it's relevant at this time that people will take off on these cops. I mean, let's be realistic here. You got a Charger RT, all-wheel drive. It's, for one, it's all-wheel drive, so you don't have to worry about spinning from a perspective of a cop or whatever the case may be. But it's much heavier than your standard RT because it's got all the equipment and all of their gear and all that stuff and technology and stuff in the car. So needless to say, it's heavier than your standard RT. So it's not going to accelerate as fast as your standard RT would, although it is all-wheel drive. So that may kind of offset itself, but it doesn't offset itself that much considering it's that heavy. Not to mention, you know, like I know RTs are only going to do, what, 160 on the dash, if I'm not mistaken. We're talking about a 5.7 liter Hemi, all-wheel drive, heavily weighted RT Charger. Obviously, you can smoke those, and they know that. We've seen it. It's on YouTube. It's evident. Whatever. We don't have to talk about that. Well, state troopers are taking things to the next level, which just makes sense. I mean, we've seen and heard of Scat Pack state troopers. We've seen and heard of Scat Pack cops in general. You know, I know you guys sent me something from Houston where it was a white wide-body Charger 392 that was a police officer, or at least had cops in it, right? They pretty much hopped out of the car, so one would assume that it is a police officer vehicle or whatever. But they've taken things to basically the top of the food chain, you know? Very few cars on the road are beating Hellcats. Let's just be real here. We may see videos all the time on Instagram and YouTube, but the reality is that's a very small minority, right? And I say that to say, out of, I mean, all of the cars that's on the road or on the highway today, only 5 to 7% can beat a Hellcat, maybe even less than that. I'll say 2 to 5% can beat a Hellcat. You're talking about something that's essentially got more power than 700 horsepower, that can do 200 plus miles an hour, right? Now, in Fantasyland or in Car World Land, we know hundreds of cars that can beat Hellcats. We see it all the time. We probably see them at car meets, not to mention Hellcats that can beat other Hellcats, right? But the reality of the situation is that, like I said, 95%, 97% of the cars on the road cannot beat this car. So that gives state troopers, police officers, police departments, so on and so forth, that immediate dominance over the possibility that you would even try to run. Scat Packs, RTs, done. Y'all are dead. We're dead, right? The streets are dead for us. Even ZL1s, SS, Mustang, GT350s, we're all done, right? If this is real, well, not that if it is real, but if this comes to a local police department, state trooper, highway patrol near you, you should know you're done when you see this, right? Don't confuse this with the RT, with the SRT body. This is a Hellcat. This is the real deal. So to my understanding, looking at it here, it's probably got kind of the same light situation that you would see with a lot of undercover Chargers. It's probably got a light bar in the rear view window, probably got some kind of light bar up front in the front grille, the rear grille, probably even the side markers. We've already seen that before. So let's not act like, you know, just because you don't see the light on the top, it's not a state trooper. It could very well be just that. 707 horsepower. I assume that these are probably older Chargers, right? Like not a brand new one that's doing 717. So 9 times out of 10, we're looking at about 707 horsepower here. 196 miles an hour, a little under 200. And you think that you're going to get away from this, you're not. So to my understanding, this is in response to people running from cops, running from state troopers, running from police officers. They're tired of it. They're fed up with it, and they're not going to take it. You're not running from this that easily, you know? And when I say that easily, I mean, like I said, 3 to 5% of cars out there can beat this with ease. 9 times out of 10, you're not driving one of those 3 to 5% of cars out there, right? You're driving a Scat, you're driving even a Hellcat, a base Hellcat. I mean, realistically speaking, on paper, you two should be side to side. And if he's close enough to you to where you can get his license plate and your make and model, that's all he needs. He doesn't need to do a pit maneuver at 150 miles an hour. That's damn murder. Although I have seen stuff like that before. We're not going to talk about that. But he just needs to get close enough to you so that he can see your license plate and the make and model of your car. He's got software that reads hundreds of license plates on a day-to-day basis. If he can at least get that close to you, he's got you. I saw in one particular situation, there was a dude in Charlotte a couple years back in a Challenger Hellcat. This motherfucker was on 485 just doing crazy runs. I think at one point he got up to like 180 miles an hour. Of course, he filmed it. Of course, he posted it to Instagram and Facebook. Somebody saw the video, sent it to the sheriff's department. Needless to say, they was at his door first thing that following morning and took his ass to jail. So they don't have to put you in a pit maneuver and flip you over 6 times or box you in and then physically arrest you at that time. All they need is your license plate, make and model of your car, and it's a wrap. They'll show up at your house the next day. And that's what I believe that they understand that these cars allow them to do. Get close enough to where they can get the make and model, the license plate, and then they'll see you on another day. They don't have to pull up next to you. It's not a race by any means. Don't confuse that. It's not a race. It's a chase. And it's essentially just a chase until I get all the relevant information about your car that I need, at which point, fuck you, I'm done. The chase is over. I'll see you tomorrow. This definitely levels the playing field as it pertains to cars. I mean, even this past weekend, I saw some guys take off on, and they were driving 392s, took off on some Greensboro cops. And I think Greensboro cops was driving like 3.6s, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a 5.7 or whatever the case may be. They blew on them, smoked them, you know, didn't even get close enough to get a license plate or make and model. For all they know, that was a damn Nissan Altima taking off on them, or Tesla, you know what I'm saying? Because when them big 6.4s get the moving, like, you're not catching them, right? Well, you're not doing that with this. You're not doing that with the Hellcat Charger. Hellcat Charger or any Hellcat Dodge has ever produced. Once again, I understand Red Eyes are 797. I understand Demons are 840, but you can't tell me that this Hellcat's not going to get close enough to you to the point that a cop can use his technology and his software to scan your license plate, get your make and model of your car, and then he'll see you the next day. So Hellcats are out of the option, out of the equation. Scat Packs and RTs, we need not even bother. Take that L like a man, right? ZL1s, SS, take that L like a man. So needless to say, for the most part, a lot of muscle cars are pretty much down and out, you know. But then again, it comes back to, can the cop handle this car? You know, cars like ours, as powerful as they are, they spin, right? This is not a wide body, so I'm assuming 275s all the way around. So you will spin, lose traction. If you don't know what you're doing, you're driving a 700 horsepower, 5,000 pound car at 150 plus miles an hour. Something's bound to happen. Either you or I are going to crash. So that's another factor you got to take into consideration. Can the state trooper drive the damn car? That, and then gas, you know what I'm saying? One of my guys told me that he was getting chased by a state trooper a while back. And when he got, well, when the cop actually pulled him over and caught him, the cop only had like 50 miles left until he was empty. So if that car that was being chased was able to keep up the chase for another 50 miles, that state trooper was out. He was donezo. But like I said, the cop caught him before the empty tank. So the same thing can be said for Hellcats. They're not at all, you know, a practical option for state troopers to just sit and chill all day. You know what I'm saying? That's not at all. This would have to be a specialty type of job. But needless to say, I guess the biggest point is that Hellcats are coming to a police department near you, or they're already there. I'm pretty much confirming that this is in North Carolina. SHP 50. Obviously, I don't know this person personally, but this came from a trusted source, basically one of my subscribers who remains nameless. Like I said, he wants to remain anonymous. I don't know his affiliation with the police, but he did want me to put it out. These are some pretty damn good pictures that he sent me. Yep, clearly we're looking at a cop here. But Hellcats are out, guys. Are the streets done is the question. I think they are, personally. I really think they are, because even if you drive a Hellcat, he's still going to be able to get close to you. You drive a red eye, he should still be able to get close to you. Demon, that's a different story, but I mean, who owns a demon these days, right? But that's it, guys. Hellcats are official. They are part of the North Carolina Highway Patrol at this point. I don't think that they've been mass produced, so needless to say, you're not going to see Hellcats at every single exit on 77 or 485 or 85 going into fucking Georgia or something like that. But they do exist. They are available. They are at police departments as we speak, so it's no longer taboo. This is confirmed. But how this changes things, I don't know. I don't know what this particular officer does with that car. That car could literally just be for show. I highly doubt it, but whatever. But as always, guys, talk to your boy. Like, subscribe, comment. See you in the next one. Peace.